Good morning, good evening, good middle of the day to everyone in crypto land, wherever you happen to be in whatever time zone you happen to be in. My name is Scott Powell again with XRP Army News. And today I am overjoyed to be able to have a friendly crypto conversation with Justin Wiesinger. And I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
It's just fine. Yeah.
Was that close?
Pretty close, yeah. Wiesinger, my whole family kind of deliberates about it, who pronounces it right. So,
Gotcha.
It's all good.
Okay, well, Justin, on our show, what we basically kind of do is just have a friendly conversation about crypto. And I have been active in the cryptocurrency community now for a couple of years, and I own my own digital marketing company, so I got a lot of time on my hands if I want it. So I spend probably 2 or 3 hours a day watching crypto videos and reading articles and that kind of thing. And so I put together our XRP Army News site so people in XRP could find that content easier than I was finding it. We have the latest videos by my favorite people on there, and then links to their Twitter feeds. But mostly what I hear on those videos is news. And I felt like that there was a space for getting to know the influencers a little bit better than just having the news regurgitated over and over and over and over. Because we hear the news from one of my favorite crypto influencers, and I watch the next video, even though it's from a different person with a different voice, the daily news is kind of repetitive. So one of the reasons I put this channel or this show together was I'm more interested in finding out about Justin. Are you a dad? Are you married? How'd you find crypto? Are you full time? Or what do you do? How did you find the space? Where did you see it? Where do you see it going now? So having said that, I'm going to back off a little bit and let you be able to just kind of share your crypto story. And when I hear something that piques my interest, I'll ask you to elaborate on it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, yeah, I heard touches a little bit about Bitcoin. I think in the mid to late 2015, but I just heard a few news stories saying that the price went up, and I didn't really know a whole lot about it, and I didn't really care at the time to really find out. And then my friend Zach, this guy I met on Facebook and stuff, told me about how he made a lot of money with XRP in 2016 or in 2017, beginning of 2017, and he said he made like $1.3 million on like a $3,400 investment. I'm like, wow, that is like mind blowing, like a 36,000% or whatever it was. So that piqued my interest. And then he actually told me about this. I'm not even going to name the company, but there was a scammy company that was doing Bitcoin mining and cloud mining and stuff. So he was encouraging me to sign up for that. And he got a lot of people in on that MLM system and stuff. So I got duped out of a few $100s. And so that's how I started buying Bitcoin was in the summer of 2017, which was obviously not a bad time to be getting into the space and stuff and kind of into the beginning of a bull market. I mean, I already missed the XRP big jumps and stuff, I guess, the beginning of the year, middle of the year.
Me too.
Yeah, but it was still, I mean, I was really interested in the space, but at the time I wasn't really doing research. I was just watching more videos about this particular company and getting excited about the profits and the 1% daily interest and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't really researching into like the protocols of Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum and things like that. So I wasn't really like watching out. And I'm sure if I looked at influencers at the time in the XRP community, they would have been pointing out scams like that and saying like, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But I wasn't listening. So for a few months, I put a little bit of Bitcoin in each month and stuff and was watching it grow a little bit. And then the bull run started in November of 2017. And I was getting really excited and I was wanting to cash out some money. And I wanted to cash out some money. And then the system wouldn't let me cash out anything. So I was getting really nervous. And then I kept emailing them and asking their team, like, what's going on? Why can't I cash out? And then, like, I think it was January 5th or 6th, the whole system got shut down in North America. And I'm like, Oh my gosh, this is not good. So, and then that was right around the time that this, the bull run ended. And I did have a small amount of XRP. I think I had 800 or 900 XRP that I bought throughout the fall. So that would have gone up, but I had no idea about like the 4-year cyclical cycle of bull runs, and that we can kind of assume it kind of falls into that diaphragm, kind of based on the correlation of the Bitcoin halvings, right? Like there seems to be a 4-year cyclical pattern that runs on Bitcoin and stuff. And so I had no idea about that. I didn't even know what a halving was or anything. So yeah, I don't think I even knew what Bitcoin mining was at the time, to be fully honest with you. But so after that, I realized I could have made a fair bit of money with XRP if I had sold at the top, and I didn't even know how to cash out. I had a Coinbase account, I think. I didn't know what Coinbase Pro was or how to withdraw money. So I was just kind of in the wild west of the space. But like a lot of people that just kind of felt like they got in quickly and had no idea what they were doing. So I felt like I was going to spend, I wasn't going to give up on the space. I knew that there was value in it. I saw what it can do in a bull run. I saw the potential for how XRP can be used in real world use cases and how it's not just like some hype coin and not some crap coin that people are just throwing money into. But I saw the beginnings of the partnerships that they were making and all the things that it was going to be used for global remittances and everything. So so I decided to like kind of double down, and like even though the price kept going down in 2018, I kept buying mostly XRP, but a little bit of Bitcoin and stuff. And I held my head high, kept my head high through all of 2018 and 2019, even though it was just a really hard time for a lot of people in the community. I know to last through a really big correction, a really big bear market and stuff. But I don't know, for something inside of me just told me that, you just got to keep putting your head in the game and researching, and you got to, invest. You got to build your belief, right? Like in something that you're invested in and you have so much money in and whatever, you have to build your belief and you have to build trust in what you're putting your money into. Because I didn't see any value in the fiat system of like having, in Canada we have transactions, right?
Right.
And I didn't believe in that. So I didn't put a penny into any kind of investment. I actually pulled out investments and put them in XRP, put them in Bitcoin and stuff, because I just stopped believing completely in the fiat system. And I think that's where you have to get to to become a crypto enthusiast. You have to pretty much sever ties with one of the systems. You can't have one foot in the water in the fiat system and one foot in the water in the crypto system. And obviously I still have to transact in fiat. I mean, I'm not like a Bitcoin maximalist that's, buys everything with Bitcoin. I don't know how you'd even do that fully by gas and stuff, but you have to sever ties with the mindset of being a fiat, influenced by fiat currency and having that mindset. So I decided to sever ties, and then I went all in with XRP. So like I tried to live like I was poor in 2018 and 2019, and any extra money I had, I'm just like, okay, here we go. And I had to get other exchanges because like, $1,000 a week on Coinbase wasn't enough, and whatever. So yeah, that was a good time. But yeah, I started watching. I think one of the first videos I saw was from Digital Asset Investor or the Bearable Bull, who's kind of just sharing news. And I'm like, I don't spend much time on Twitter, but if I watch these guys, I can get the lowdown on what's going on and stuff, and Kevin Cage as well. So
yep.
So I decided to like commit like hours a day to just research and discovery and learning all this stuff and learning the terminology of like the XRP community. You're learning about on-demand liquidity and everything, and what the heck is an XRapid and all that. So, so I did a lot of driving. So I started dating a girl later in 2018, 2019. November 2018. That's right. November 2018. My wife's just behind me. That's her. Anyways, they worked out.
Justin, I'm not very important. Justin, it's very important. November 3rd, 2018 is when we met. So
very
important you remember that date.
Yeah, right. So I'm just on the spot here. So yeah, we started dating, and I started talking to her about crypto, and I knew, if I was going to date somebody and it was going to be serious, they had to at least understand enough to like take part in it. And like, I didn't expect her to invest lots of money into crypto or anything. And but she was just like, she understood the concept. She's like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll put some money into it. And I'm like, that's good enough for me, babe. let's get married. Let's do this. That's not why I married her, but she's really great. So so talking through that, and she has 2 little girls of her own from a previous marriage. So now we got married this past winter in February 2020, just a few months ago. So that was good. But yeah, the whole time I would do a lot of driving because she lived an hour outside of our city. So I'd have to drive there and back and stuff. And like whenever I was on the road, I beefed up my data plan and just listen to YouTube videos in the car and listen to crypto podcasts and stuff. So I'd probably spend, I mean, thank goodness DIY's videos are like 45 minutes long now, because it took about that long to like get through the drive and stuff. And it was just, yeah, I just learned so much in that time. And I realized, I'm like, if these guys could be an influencer and have a channel and literally just screen record a lot of the time. I mean, it's not all I'm going to do, but just screen record and talk about charts, talk about crypto news, talk about Twitter, replay some videos. I'm like, I could probably do that. You know, I was just like, why am I not doing this? Like, I love talking. I love my radio voice, and I haven't used it very much. So my first step was in, I think in February or March this year, I bought a Blue Yeti mic, and I was just testing it out and stuff. And then the news dropped about, I think the Bearable Bulls video was talking about like Trump is the new chair of the Federal Reserve and stuff. But I think I saw an article at the same time that he was talking about on Twitter. So he didn't have his video out yet, but I was like, I have to video about this. That would blow up. so I was doing some research and stuff, and I probably spent 45 minutes on Twitter and stuff, just different channels, checking out articles and finding a little Trump soundbite or whatever. And then I think I had more trouble with the thumbnail, honestly, than I did making the video. The thumbnail is always the hard part, I think. So, but I posted that video, and after this was March 29th, I think, March 28th, 29th of this year. I posted the video, and after a few hours, it had like 100 views. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I had 34 or 24 subscribers at this time. I hadn't posted a video in a while. Like, I barely used the channel at all, but I had the crypto media name and stuff, and I had my little intro, and I'm like, huh. And then like a few hours later, it was at 300 views, and then 400 views, then 500 views, then 600 views. And then it kind of slowed down a little bit at 700 views the next day or two. And I'm like, wow, I should do another one. And I wasn't doing it for the views, obviously, but like obviously some first exposure, you know, kind of impact is always cool, and it's always refreshing, right? Because I remember posting a video about a book I released in 2019, and I sold a few hundred copies and stuff, but the online stuff was really hard to push out and to market and everything. So I didn't get a lot of feedback. So having feedback on a video that I posted, it was like really encouraging, and getting lots of really kind comments and people welcoming me to the space and stuff was really cool. So I decided I was trying to post 5 days a week for like indefinitely. So I did 4 or 5 videos a week for the next 3-4 weeks. And now we're 5 weeks in, and I have 31 videos posted now since I kind of started the channel, and I'm at 950 subscribers as of this morning, which is mind blowing for me. It's just starting out, and then I'm almost at that 4,000 watch hours for getting monetized if I choose to do that soon here. So yeah, so I just think for me, like being I don't know if I would call myself an influencer yet, but being definitely a crypto enthusiast. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not a XRP maximalist, but I hugely believe in the value of what XRP brings to the table and what the team does. And I'm just even looking at the ISO 222, like stuff like that is just so breakthrough and so phenomenal to see a company like rising out of the ashes of this broken financial system and bring a really viable solution that's not going to help just banks, but it's going to help the whole world, and so it's going to help people as well. It's so exciting.
Bringing on the unbanked. Now, just what did your work career prior to crypto, did any of that but lead you up to being qualified to evaluate the next world's monetary system? And I'll just let you know, mine didn't. I got a college degree in radio and TV communications from Appalachian State University, not an economics degree from Harvard.
Yeah.
So I was not really prepared to do this, but I, just like you, once I started kind of getting into this and looking at it, I mean, I've spent 2 or 3 hours a day
Hmm.
educating myself with this stuff,
Yeah.
probably for the last 2 years. And just, I
Hmm.
wake up every day like a kid in a candy store, looking forward to finding out more about how all of
Yeah.
this is evolving.
Exactly. So I would say this is the kind of a cool way to look at it is that if the bankers are not qualified to like be experts in the crypto field, which they're not, then that means that it's a level playing field. Like, they've already made, the term level playing field, 589, bearable guy, 123, whatever. Um, the crypto is leveling the playing field for anybody to be an expert, right? Like you just have to take the time and you have to research. There's no degree or like a master's degree in crypto blockchain that I'm aware of it yet for like people. I'm sure there's tech degrees in blockchain in finance, but there's not like a master's doctorate of crypto research, like there's not, but you can be that. You just have to do the work and you got to put the time in. So I think, if the bankers are still clueless about this, then they're not qualified to be experts in the crypto field. And that means anybody can be an expert if they just take the time and commit to it and commit to this. And it's a journey. It's not like you arrive someday. Maybe you'll get through a bull market and make a few $1,000 or a few $1,000,000, God willing, knock on wood. But it's just like that's what gives me comfort is that the banksters of the world aren't prepared for what's coming. They're not prepared for this transition, and they're hanging on with for dear life into this old broken system, and the trillions of dollars coming out every day into the Fed and stuff like that in the States, and Canada having zero gold reserves and just probably freaking out a little bit, and I'm sure Trudeau's sucking up to China because he doesn't want to get taken out because we're so weak, and they're taking away our AR-15s and everything, and it's just the crazy world. But it gives me comfort knowing that there's a level playing field in the crypto community for anybody to rise up to the occasion and to become an influencer because they've taken the time and put the work in to gain knowledge, not just head knowledge, but active knowledge. Like, what do you do with the information? Do you get an I Trust Capital account when you watch that video? Do you, buy a nano ledger when you realize that it's not good to have money on an exchange? Do you start using like the Brave browser when everybody else uses Google Chrome when you realize you can get paid in crypto to just browse the internet? Like, do you start transitioning your life and your mindset into these new protocols? Because we're not investing. Like, imagine Scott, if you could have made money in 1999 when somebody told you you could invest in the internet protocol, right? Like, imagine if you could be like, there we go. I wouldn't keep that up. I wouldn't keep that out too much. You gotta either hang it on your neck with a gun in your pocket, or you gotta like put it in a safe.
Well,
But
I'll tell you a funny story, and I'm kind of an out there, and for everybody, I'm sure you've noticed. Okay, this is my version of the halving.
yeah,
I'm shaving half my face,
yeah,
and I'm doing it. I told Justin before we came on together that I've kind of done this also sort of as a social experiment to see how the beer cold is disturbing other people out there and distracting them. And I started doing this a week ago, and I've had one person in a week out in public notice. And
mm-hmm.
I haven't even had people, Justin, look at me funny. I mean,
Yeah,
people are so self-absorbed, and so now what I think, I got a group of people that I see pretty regularly, and one of them noticed it, and so we were together, and so everybody in that little group knows.
mm-hmm.
So what I think I'm going to do now, and I mentioned this to Justin earlier, what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to shave the right side, let the left side grow, and shave my right eyebrow.
Yeah,
And just see if, God, does anybody notice, or are they all just that self-absorbed?
yeah,
I'm kind of a little bit of a different guy, and I meditate, and I saw a guy on YouTube a couple of years ago meditating under a copper pyramid. So I figured, hey, those Egyptians must be they must have known something about building those pyramids in that shape. And that guy seemed to be pretty happy under that copper pyramid. So I went to Lowe's and bought some copper tubing and built a copper pyramid, and I put it above my bed. So I sleep. I mean, just in case there's something to that, I'm covered.
Yeah.
I keep my nano hanging on the right hand corner of my pyramid so I can see it at all times. So
Nice.
I don't know if I need to find a better safe place, but I live kind of remotely out in the woods. So there's not a lot of traffic coming around here.
Okay.
I kind of feel like that it's safe. And so I just kind of look at it and think positive thoughts to it every time that I look at it. So now one thing that I wanted to kind of touch base with you, do you see the pressure building on the fiat system right now?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think the pressure, well, even Christine Lagarde mentioned yesterday, talking about the ECB and the ISO 2020 stuff and everything, just kind of saying the headline was, it was the name of my video, was buckle up, because like the world is changing and the IMF has to play a massive role in likely implementing electronic SDRs, which is just a way of helping lend money to countries that are failing. You know, their banking systems are failing and stuff. So it's a way of lending a lot of money to these countries and providing liquidity, which is like kind of it's the one crisis that's going to hit home the hardest for a lot of people. And for the banks, again, is this liquidity crisis. And XRP, luckily, basically solves that problem if banks choose to adopt on-demand liquidity through XRapid. So yeah, I just see, like, I think we're already at like 1159.9 out of the doomsday clock for the economy and stuff. Like, I think we're going to see another large correction in the stock market probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks. There's going to be there could be another shakeout because there could be a relapse of this close down and stuff. There could be another curve or whatever of this beer cold and stuff and people freaking out. And I don't think it's over. I think the world is like, we have to assume the world has changed forever due to this craziness and stuff. So I don't think things are going to go back to the way that they were and stuff. And a lot more people are going to be looking for ways to make money online and do things online that can bring value to people around them and stuff. And which is why I'm YouTubing, is to bring value to people online. So yeah, the things are changing so fast. And, you know, I think the US has to do something about the economy. They have to launch a digital dollar, or like a gold backed dollar or something, or an XRP centric dollar with with the rails of the system. They have to change the plumbing for their system too. And the only way they can really do that is with XRP, I think. So.
Right. Well, you know, Brad Garlinghouse, it was about a year ago, maybe, or maybe 9 months ago. He said that it's a marathon and we're in mile 2 or 3. I think we got to be closer to mile 26 now by a large margin. I think that the world events, you know, that thing we're not allowed to say the name of, I think that really accelerated the process. So are you, I mean, logically, it seems to me like that the move that the IMF could make is the pre-allocation theory. They've got 181 members. Ripple has got 55 or so billion XRP. Dole it out to them, you know, based on their rank with the IMF, and then set each XRP at $1,000, and we're all good.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like it's fantasy. Like, I think the Real Bull talks about fantasy economics. There's nothing normal about what's going on with XRP and stuff, and there's nothing fair necessarily about it either, right? Like, why should there be a debt jubilee and banks and stuff get off easy, and why should world governments not have to repay their debts and everything? But you know, this is the crazy messed up adult world we live in, and it's part of this fantasy economics. And why should a crypto go up 20,000% in like 18 days or 20 days, right? Like, it's not fair. It doesn't make sense, but it's the reality that we live in, right? And we can choose to live in the fake reality of that we can hang on to this broken system for another 2 or 3 years, but the reality is that's not the case. Like, they're gonna boost the gold price probably in a few weeks to Jim Rickards was saying maybe to $14,000 an ounce, which is crazy. And why wouldn't a world government like China that holds 20,000, 40,000 tons of gold, why wouldn't they have a gold-backed currency again to compete with the US, to compete with Russia, to compete on the world stage again, right? And not compete, but to like annihilate the competition. Why wouldn't they do that? And they're definitely going to do that. So the US has to stand up. And I know Trump has some ties to Ripple and stuff, you know, with his nephew and stuff like that, and those guys that are in meetings and everything. So and obviously having XRP Ripple having a White House station, right? Not White, a Washington DC station obviously helps with their connections and lobbying towards the U.S. government for crypto regulations and stuff. And I'm sure this ISO upgrade is obviously huge for. I mean that pretty much that's like worldwide regulation, if you ask me, for crypto. Like that's crazy that they got verified in that.
Justin, what do you think that and from my understanding of why that acceleration happened in part was due to Swift kind of dragging their feet? I mean, what do you think that the CEO of Swift is thinking? Hey, we got 40-year-old technology. It fails 6% of the time. It's very expensive, but we're going to wait till 2025 to implement what we feel like will work. I mean, what kind of a moron makes a business decision like that?
I know. I mean, when Ripple is 7 years ahead in tech of any company in the world for fintech, you know, like why would they they must be like, I think the point that a lot of these central bankers and stuff are at, including Swift, is that they're so delusional. They don't even they literally think that things are just gonna stay as they are. But I think there's a big wake up call coming where, you know, in the next couple of weeks, they're just like, oh my gosh, I mean, Christine Lagarde put the pedal to the metal on Swift and said they have to have a blueprint plan by the end of May this year for how they're going to launch and be ISO 20022 enabled soon. And they're saying they're going to take till 2022 to get verified on the ISO upgrade and stuff, and to have Swift GPI running. And Swift GPI, their new upgrade, isn't even an upgrade. All it is like a networking messaging upgrade. It's like going from Facebook's first mode to it's so stupid. So why would you even invest in that? Why would you? I mean, I have to spend money for a dropshipping company I have to send money over Swift and stuff, and I hate it spending $30 on fees to Indonesia and stuff. It's awful. So I think obviously the better way is here with XRP, with Ripple, and I don't think there's any hope for the banking system to even try to adapt when things are moving so fast right now. It's crazy.
Well, how would you, going into the tech war, would you rather have your general be David Schwartz or the chief technical officer of Swift?
Exactly.
I don't think that's a fair fight.
Yeah, no, it's not a fair fight. I mean, and even Swift canceled their global summit or whatever this year, right? So they're not even going online. I think they're just giving up. They're just sorry, I think we're done.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's one question that I wanted to ask. Justin, in the time that you've been in the space, and I know my answer, but what is the most tin hatty thing that you remember seeing out of all of your crypto experience? And mine popped up in my mind while we were talking. That's why I wanted to find out if you had a favorite tin hatty theory in your head that you've come across.
Could you share yours first so I kind of get an idea?
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite influencers is Lee with SPQR.
Okay.
And did you happen to see their video called The Truth?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. I highly recommend it. But you have to kind of make sure you put your feet firmly on the ground, because they're going to take your head up into the clouds if you watch that video.
Yeah.
All right. So it turns out, all right, that, and this is actually true, so it's not really all that tin hat.
Yeah.
All right. On the Ripple board of directors is a gentleman named Klaus Gutenberg.
Right.
He's a German guy, and he, according to some, could be next in line to take over when Merkel sits down. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guess what family Mr. Gutenberg is a member of?
I did remember watching a video on this. I forget, it was a little while ago.
The Italian banking family, the Medicis.
Okay.
All right. Well, the Medicis happened to be an Italian family who introduced banking into the world, to the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
In the Medici family, there are 4 popes. I mean, this is like when you hear about these families behind the scenes, the Bilderbergs and the Trilateral Commission, all of that kind of stuff. The Medici they're one of these big families, I believe, behind the scenes. And Ripple asked a Medici, who is Klaus Gutenberg, to join their board of directors in 2014.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at, I mean, how in the world did this little startup out of San Francisco get connected with all these governments and all these banks?
Yeah, no kidding.
They had to have somebody introducing them. And so I think part of this whole thing, and the Medici family in history got moved out of the banking, and I believe it was by a family called the Flukers. I think that's right. So I think what's now happening in world history is the Medicis want to get back in the banking business.
Oh, okay.
The rise of the Medici. They're back, baby.
Oh, wow. Take down the Rothschilds, hey?
And the dude is on the board of directors of Ripple. I mean, that's pretty coincidental right there.
That is crazy. Yeah, I think the biggest tin hat thing, I did a video on it recently, is all about how the NESARA Act stuff, if that's even a real thing that's in play. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's this act in the States where the farmers in 1993 were trying to battle, and they're suing the U.S. government for all these wrongdoings and stuff financially. And I believe the act was signed into play in 2000 by Clinton, and they may have held him at gunpoint or something. And this is like, this whole NESARA thing is crazy, but they're saying that they could likely, one of the ways they could do this is there might be a fund that's been in the works for a long time, or the money could come from making a price set with XRP and having it at $1,000 to pay off world debts and everything like that, to have this kind of debt jubilee. I think that's kind of one of the biggest tin hatty things I didn't want to make a video on, but I really wanted to at the same time to see what kind of feedback I would get and stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing in America, at least, that I can mention is that most people are not really aware of any of the crisis, really, except now when it begins to hit home. Wendy's has cut back beef on some of the items in their restaurants.
Okay.
Now people are like, uh-oh, where's the beef? Well, it's on the farm. The cow's not slaughtered yet, because we got no supply chain to be able to get it to Wendy's.
Exactly.
But when Americans look at the USA debt clock, they look at that 24 trillion and they're like, oh, it's a problem. But what they're really missing, Justin, is the lower right-hand corner is where the real anchor is that is going to sink everything. And that's the unfunded liabilities that America has racked up.
Right.
I started looking at it a couple of months ago, and it was $127 trillion. Unfunded liabilities.
Yeah.
Now, how's America going? That's all the Social Security, all the Medicare, Medicaid payments, all of the pensions that the government has promised, all of that.
That's
How
crazy.
are they going to pay $127 trillion off?
No.
And the scary thing, Justin, if you and I looked at it today, it's grown just in the last 2 months to $147 trillion.
Oh my gosh.
$20 trillion of unfunded liabilities on America, and they ain't done yet. They're going to give $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 trillion more. And I was watching Glenn Beck the other day, and he broke the stimulus down that they gave $3 trillion, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you divide that by the citizens in America, that's $16,500 a piece.
Yeah.
and then they're giving some of Americans $1,200.
Yeah.
What? Where's the rest of the money?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's paying
It's all
off,
going to,
bailing out companies and banks. And,
it's
yeah.
bailing out these people. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just unbelievable. But anyway,
Well, that's the thing is like I've come to the point, and I'm sure you've come to the point where there's no reason to hold any value in money other than the fact that people are like people still believe that there's value in money, but like there's literally intrinsically there's no value in the US dollar. Like there's I posted a video on one of my videos a week or two ago, and somebody, oh no, it was that billionaires clip from the TV show about Bitcoin and stuff. Did you catch that a few days
I
ago on my
did.
channel?
I
So
did.
that was that not blatantly just a slap in the face, like obvious, that they're alluding to this stuff, but they're in that detention room, and the cop was like, so like, what is there even value in Bitcoin? Like you're mining all these numbers and stuff, and the guy was like, well, where's the money? Where's the value in fiat currency in the U.S.? And he's like, well, it's in infrastructure and it's in
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And yeah, so funny.
Yeah, it
I
made no
love that.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Axe. I couldn't wait till Billions started up again.
Yeah.
I'm still depressed that Homeland is over, but
Yeah.
I love that show too. All right, so let me ask you this. So you feel like that here's another thing I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
How much good news consistently has to come out before we see some price action? I mean, and what I mean by that, Justin, I can
Mhm.
think of in the last, I'll just cut it off at the last 90 days.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything that was like major bad news, besides every now and then you get some FUD crap that's not really true, like somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about saying, well, Ripple just sold this, put out this $1 billion, and then they don't understand that they took 95% of it back. They
Yeah.
don't understand that they released that, oh, they're flooding the market. They're just out there to make money for themselves.
Right.
People don't understand that. Once you understand it, then you understand the escrow is going out once a month, and almost all of it's coming back. No big
All
deal.
of it. Yeah.
But the FUD really has had no teeth. Now, I don't remember a really like a tragic, horrible, bad news story about Ripple. I mean, it was unsettling that Miguel Diaz left, and we don't exactly know why. I don't know. Maybe his job's maybe mission complete. I don't know. But it was a little disturbing that we didn't hear about that. But again, when I look at all of the positive things that have been happening and how bad the fiat system continues to
Yeah.
look like it's collapsing, the fact that the price
Mhm.
hasn't moved more is kind of curious to me. But do you remember any really bad? No,
No,
not
I don't. I don't remember any startling bad news at all in the last 90 days. No, like I think it's been mostly really fantastic. I mean, there's been somebody's released a really amazing video at least once a day in the last 9 weeks, 9 months or whatever about XRP and Ripple. So there's always good news to talk about. And I feel like the frequency of news too has just been snowballing in the last few
me
weeks
too.
and months. Like since I started my channel to today, like I've actually had something pretty breakthrough in each video to talk about. It hasn't just been me spinning my tires on like Bitcoin.com trying to send my referral bonus to somebody or whatever. So no offense to guys who do that, but it's
Well, and that was kind of my point. All I've been seeing is really good news, and it seems like that the momentum is growing.
mhm.
And we've gone from recently 17 cents hit up to 22. But I mean, I'm just like, I mean, the price has got to come into play at some point. And I know I love DAI. My family on my mother's side are all from South Georgia.
Yeah.
My sister graduated from the University of Georgia. Her husband went there. They met while they were going there. They live in a little town right beside Athens, Georgia, called
Okay.
Beauport. So I love DAI, and he keeps saying, and I'm going along with him, that the price is irrelevant because
Yeah.
they've got bigger plans for all of this stuff. I just keep wondering, like everybody else, because I don't have a genie to rub the lamp to get the right answer. But I'm curious of, when. I get it. It's not if, it's when. Well, okay. What other event are we waiting on besides the entire world's economy is choked off to a dead stop almost?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like I wonder if there could be like a major amount of like price suppression going on in XRP, like with banks holding it back and stuff like that. Like maybe they're trying to get a few extra partners kind of engaged in XRP, and maybe they're trying to get a few other banks on board with Ripple, on board with on demand. Like maybe there's only a few central banks in the world that are left, which is what seems to be the case, that haven't signed on yet. And once they're signed on, it's like, okay, flip that switch, let's rock it. So it could be the case.
I think the corridor to Europe beginning to get ramped up, because I like to look at Fiat Leak, and it seems the U.S.-Mexico corridor is rocking all the time, and now it seems like we got some stuff. It looks like going over to Asia. I guess maybe that's some stuff going on to Thailand, maybe.
Yeah, probably Thailand.
I keep looking at Europe, thinking, come on, Christine Lagarde, let's get this corridor up and running.
Yeah.
And I can't understand why SWIFT, when they see the use case with MoneyGram between, Mexico and the U.S., why they don't see that this is just better tech. It's going to save us money. It's faster. It's more secure. And I understand they want, that they're the big dog and they think that they, know all. But how can you do that when you can see that ODL is just a better performing tech?
Yeah, not like a little bit better, but like oodles better. Yeah.
All right. So where do you have a feel in your mind where you feel like anything is going? And then I know that you've got to get kids to school. So I just wanted to, and I put name of your channel up here and encouraged everybody to like and subscribe.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
You're very welcome. And do you have any kind of maybe a final message you'd like to send out to the world about where you see us going, and any other message that you'd like to be able to give out to anyone in crypto land?
Yeah, so I think like what the halving is, 5 days away now? 4 days away? Maybe 3 days. I think I checked Blockfolio, it was like 4 or something like that. But I feel like the halving is basically the point of no return. Like if things don't change forever after that, and like the next bull cycle isn't like revolutionary, like then crypto doesn't have a future. But I believe that it does have a future. And I think that like, even though the prices suck right now, I mean, XRP's been floating around 20 cents for God knows how long, and even though Bitcoin has been kind of fluttering around 10K, and it just passed 10K, I think, last night for a little bit, maybe a dip below that. I haven't checked Blockfolio this morning or Coin's market cap, but you have to believe in the protocol. Do I trust what they're trying to do with crypto? Do I trust what they're trying to do in the space? Even though it's so new, I'm sure when the internet came out, we were all like, what the heck is an email? What the heck is MSN Messenger? What is all this stuff? What the heck is an Amazon or whatever? But you have to be a forward thinker, and you have to be a little bit of a futurist to believe that this tech is here to stay, and it's going to revolutionize the whole world. And I don't think there's no hope for the fiat system. We have to transition. And I think the more people that move their trust into this new protocol and into blockchain technology, into on-demand liquidity and XRP and everything, I think is just what the trust is going to be completely dismantled this year. I think in the fiat system, 100% dismantled and gone. So what are people going to put their trust in? What are they going to put a trust in? And they have to trust something else that's bigger and better. And I believe they're going to put their trust in XRP, in Bitcoin, and things like that. And my challenge and encouragement to anybody is, don't invest more than you can handle, but invest a little bit more than you can handle, because I think it just depends on how much more. This is not financial advice, but like, what is your threshold for risk versus reward? Like, the biggest risk is not doing anything with crypto, is sitting on the sidelines and not putting money in. I knew about XRP before the huge 30,000, 36,000% gains, but I didn't put any money into it because I didn't bother asking or YouTubing like how to buy XRP and just do it on Bittrex or whatever at the time. But the reality is, do research, invest a little bit more than you can handle in whatever currency you want to. But the big thing is but this is the thing here, Scott, is if you're doing 10 times the amount of research as your average person, I guess you can invest 10 times more than the average person, if you have that risk tolerance. It's about like building your risk tolerance for what you're believing in. So I'm pretty excited to be invested in XRP, to be invested in companies like Link and Tezos and a little bit of Bitcoin. I'm not like a maximalist or anything, but I still believe it has value and as a digital gold and stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. What is your risk to reward ratio? I mean, like, it's a bigger risk to be invested in mutual funds and traditional IRAs and 401ks right now than it is, I think, to be invested in a volatile market like crypto. So yeah.
Well, and thank you, Justin. And as we speak, the Dow is up 339.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's selling anything.
Yeah.
How is this? I can't understand how people can't look at that and say something here is awry. Something isn't making sense. Wendy's is cutting back selling hamburgers, but the stock market keeps going up. Warren Buffett has pulled all of his money out of airplane stocks, and yet the stock market is still going up. People haven't lost confidence yet. I mean, wow, I guess that Fed is just going to have to keep printing that funny money. Woo!
Yeah.
All right, well, Justin, I'd like to, again, deeply thank you for being willing to come on and share a little bit more about you. So the people in the crypto viewing world and the XRP Army world know more about you. And congratulations on marrying well. That's always a commendable accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
One day I hope to accomplish the same thing.
Awesome.
All right. Well, listen, you take care. I'll go ahead and hit end broadcast, and anyone viewing, like and subscribe to Crypto Media. Justin is a good guy, well informed, and has a good radio voice like Kevin Cage. So all good reasons.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All good reasons to check Justin out. And Oh Canada, isn't that the song?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, love the McKenzie brothers.
Nice.
All right, take care.
Okay, take care.